You are not here by coincidence. The moment you made your choice, all of heaven went still. The air shifted, and time itself seemed to pause, not in chaos, but in divine reverence. The hosts of heaven leaned forward. The kingdom of darkness froze in confusion. You did something they did not expect. You chose obedience when rebellion would have been easier. You turned toward God when disappointment was trying to drown you. And because of that, the spiritual world could not ignore you. You thought it was just another prayer whispered in the night. Another quiet decision to keep walking even when the path was unclear. But heaven saw the power of it. That moment, your moment, was not small. It was history in the unseen realm. The light of your obedience cut through the fog that surrounded your destiny. And even the gates of hell trembled when you lifted your heart and said, "I will still trust." The sound of that faith echoed through eternity. The enemy had counted you out. He thought the betrayal, the delay, the disappointment had silenced you for good. But instead of giving up, you stood up. And when you did, the atmosphere around you changed. It was proclaimed in the second book of Samuel, chapter 22, verse 29. You, Lord, are my lamp. The Lord turns my darkness into light. That verse is not just words, it is the very reflection of your story. You were surrounded by darkness, but God Himself became your lamp. He didn't just hand you light, He was the light within you. Every tear you shed watered the ground for your new beginning. Every time you almost quit but chose to stay, heaven recorded it. Your endurance became the altar where your future was forged. They didn't see what it cost you to say yes. The battles you fought in silence. The nights where no one saw the war raging in your mind. But even there, grace found you. When others turned away, God stayed. When doors shut in your face, He whispered, "Wait, I'm not done." That whisper became your lifeline. Now the watchers, both seen and unseen, are speechless. Those who mocked you are uneasy, because they can't explain the peace that now covers you. You used to cry yourself to sleep. Now you rest in unexplainable calm. You used to fear tomorrow. Now you rise with unshakable purpose. That's what happens when someone chosen makes a choice heaven agrees with. Your life is not a random sequence of pain and blessing, it's divine strategy. Every loss was an instruction. Every setback was a setup. Every delay was a lesson in divine timing. You thought God was silent, but He was building something sacred in you, a resilience no trial could destroy. And now, it's time to stop hiding your light. You've paid the price in private. Now, the harvest will speak in public. The same people who underestimated you will have to watch you walk in favor they can't deny. Don't shrink back. Don't tone down the fire in your spirit just to make others comfortable. You've come too far. You've bled too much. You've believed too long. Let your life preach louder than any sermon. This is your awakening. The moment the universe itself seems to echo your heartbeat. You chose purpose over pleasure, alignment over approval, faith over fear. And heaven is rewarding that decision right now. You are stepping into the season where divine favor finds you without you chasing it. The Lord Himself is establishing your name in rooms you haven't even entered yet. So, before this section ends, let this be your act of agreement, like, share, and subscribe, not out of habit, but as a declaration that you stand with what heaven is speaking. And comment the number 777 below as a prophetic sign that divine completion is resting upon your obedience. The watchers may have been shocked, but heaven is celebrating. You may not see it yet, but everything you lost is returning multiplied. God is restoring what the enemy stole. And even your silence is becoming a sound of victory that the heavens recognize. The fire that once burned you now refines you. Every scar on your spirit is turning into light. And your story will become the prophecy others hold on to in their darkest hour. What once buried you has become the very ground where your roots go deeper. You are not the same, you are transformed, anointed, untouchable by the schemes that used to trap you before. Stand firm now. Heaven is watching. Hell is trembling. And the earth will soon witness the manifestation of your obedience. You have chosen correctly. The crown is already being placed. The whispers began the moment you made your choice. Not human voices, but the murmur of unseen watchers, the shadows that have trailed you since your birth. They gathered in disbelief, astonished that the one they thought would never rise had finally stood up. They had studied your pain, memorized your weaknesses, plotted your distractions, yet somehow you slipped through their fingers. They could not predict the fire that was hidden within your spirit. In the unseen realm, observation never ceases. There are eyes that have followed your journey through valleys and storms, waiting for the moment you would break. They whispered doubts into your mind, orchestrated betrayals to fracture your heart, and tempted you with paths that led nowhere. Still, you endured. Still, you believed. Your perseverance became the confusion of your enemies. What they meant to use as evidence of your defeat became testimony of your faith. When you cried in silence, they thought you were crumbling. When you withdrew to pray, they mistook your stillness for surrender. They didn't understand that silence was your strategy. You were not retreating, you were being recharged. In those hidden moments, your spirit was learning to discern. Heaven was training you to recognize the counterfeit voices that tried to disguise themselves as truth. And when the time came, you chose correctly. You walked away from the familiar, and darkness panicked. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That is what happened in your story. The Lord himself stepped into the battle. While the enemies whispered and plotted, heaven's army advanced without sound. The ground beneath their plans began to shake. You were never meant to fight this war in your own strength. God allowed them to see your struggle so that his glory would be undeniable when victory came. You see, your enemies are not just people, they are systems, patterns, and unseen powers that tried to keep you small. They studied your lineage. They saw the anointing resting on your bloodline and decided to stop you before you discovered it. But you did discover it. You woke up. You realized that not every storm is sent to destroy. Some are sent to reveal authority. You stopped running from the fire and began walking through it. That is when the whispers turned into silence. They are watching now. But the tone has changed. No longer mockery, only confusion. They can't understand how the same person who once fell apart now walks with calm assurance. They can't trace your peace. They cannot explain your strength. You are a living contradiction to everything the darkness predicted. You were supposed to give up by now. You were supposed to lose your faith, compromise your calling, drown in fear. But you didn't. You rose. There's something sacred about being underestimated. It's in those moments of disregard that God hides his greatest work. While they laughed, heaven was building. While they plotted, heaven was preparing. And when the appointed hour arrived, you emerged, transformed, stronger, wiser, and unrecognizable to your enemies. The watchers in the shadows have seen what you carry now. They know your prayers pierce through the fog they once used to blind you. They know your worship shakes what they once controlled. They know your words carry power because you've walked through fire and lived to tell about it. That's why you feel the tension in the atmosphere. It's not oppression anymore. It's recognition. The realm of darkness knows who you are now. There is authority in your steps. Every time you walk in obedience, the enemy's camp grows restless. Every time you speak truth, another chain breaks. You are not fighting for victory anymore. You are fighting from it. The battle has shifted. Heaven has already decided the outcome. Your only task now is to remain steady, to keep your heart anchored in peace. The watchers will continue to whisper, but let them. They cannot stop what God has already set in motion. The more they speak, the more their words expose their fear. They are witnessing prophecy unfold. The one they counted out is now the one chosen to carry light into realms they thought untouchable. You were never meant to hide in shadows. You were meant to expose them. And that's exactly what you've done. The same darkness that tried to silence you now serves as the backdrop that makes your light impossible to ignore. Stand firm. Chosen one. Let them watch. Their disbelief is proof of your transformation. You are the evidence that grace is real, that mercy still finds the broken, and that divine power can rewrite any story. Their whispers no longer define you. They testify of what heaven has done through you. So let them keep watching. Let them keep wondering how you endured. You owe them no explanation. Your endurance is your answer. Your peace is your proof. And your transformation is heaven's loudest declaration of victory through you. There is a sacred weight in the word obedience. It sounds quiet, yet it shakes kingdoms. The cost of obedience is often misunderstood by those who live for comfort. They see your choices but not your inner wrestling. They don't realize that every yes you've whispered to God was born from pain, not ease. You didn't obey because it was convenient. You obeyed because you were called. When you surrendered what others chased, heaven took notice. You walked away from distractions, from relationships that drained your spirit, from opportunities that glittered but carried poison. That isn't weakness, that's spiritual courage. Every sacrifice you made became a sword in the unseen. The darkness trembles at those who obey without applause, because the enemy can't manipulate a heart that belongs completely to God. Your obedience has become a weapon sharper than fear. It looks small to the world, choosing silence when wronged, choosing peace when chaos calls, choosing faith when logic fails, but each act creates ripples that shake the unseen realm. Heaven measures obedience not in comfort, but in consistency. You have paid a price for your faith. You've lost people, plans, and pieces of your past self. But you've gained something greater: clarity. You now see what others can't. You understand that obedience isn't bondage, it's alignment. It's how destiny unfolds, one yes at a time. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 7, verse 23. Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people, and walk in all the way that I command you, that it may be well with you. That is heaven's contract. Obedience births belonging. You didn't obey to earn love. You obeyed because you already have it. And now, that love shields you. It covers your steps, guards your peace, and opens doors no force can shut. You see, obedience is not a loss, it's an exchange. You trade your will for His wisdom, your fear for His favor. The cost feels high because what you're carrying is holy. When others compromise, you stand still. When others chase crowds, you chase presence. That is why your life carries an unexplainable strength. The darkness doesn't fear your emotions, it fears your discipline. It fears your ability to stay faithful when no one is watching. You have learned that surrender isn't weakness, it's strategy. Each time you choose obedience, you reinforce heaven's authority over your life. The watchers who once mocked your choices now see the fruit. They may not admit it, but your peace confuses them. You should have fallen apart by now. Yet you rise each day with quiet certainty. That's what obedience does. It anchors you when everything else shifts. There were moments you questioned the process, wondering if obedience was worth the isolation. But heaven whispered, "Keep going." And you did. You obeyed when it hurt. And now the fragrance of that sacrifice is reaching heaven. So, as this message reaches you, let your heart respond not just in thought, but in declaration. Comment below, "My obedience speaks." Say it with conviction, because it truly does. Your obedience speaks louder than explanations, louder than excuses, louder than pain. It tells heaven that you are trustworthy. It tells darkness that you are untouchable. And it tells the future that you are ready. The echo of that obedience is what carries your destiny forward. Let your comment be a seal, a testimony that your choices are now weapons. Your surrender is your strength, and your obedience is your roar. When you write "My obedience speaks," you're not typing words, you're releasing prophecy. That sentence carries spiritual weight. It announces to heaven that you still trust the divine timeline. It tells angels to move, and it signals to darkness that your faith cannot be manipulated. Every letter becomes a declaration: I may be tested, but I remain chosen. When you write, "My obedience speaks," you give voice to your silent victories. Every private decision, every surrendered tear, every quiet act of faith is amplified through that confession. Heaven hears it as worship. Hell hears it as warning. The earth recognizes it as alignment. Your obedience is not a whisper, it is thunder echoing in eternity. When you write, "My obedience speaks," you affirm that you are no longer waiting for validation from people. You are walking in validation from purpose. It means you understand your yes to God is enough. That simple act unlocks favor. Because true obedience creates movement, spiritual, emotional, and divine. Your obedience builds what opinions could never build. When you write, "My obedience speaks," you're saying, "I am done explaining what God already affirmed." You are choosing destiny over doubt. Every time you declare it, you strengthen the walls of your faith. You remind the heavens that your voice is still aligned with divine will, and heaven always responds to those who choose to obey completely. So declare it once more, "My obedience speaks." Let it rise like a banner over your life, a sound that heaven recognizes and darkness fears. Your obedience is your legacy, your language, your victory eternal. There are tears that heaven records like treasures. They fall quietly, unseen by others, yet they echo louder than 1,000 prayers. You have cried those tears, the kind that come not from weakness, but from the weight of being chosen, the kind that come when faith costs you everything familiar. Heaven does not ignore such tears. They are gathered, stored, and transformed into prophecy. Every tear you have shed has purpose. None of them fell to the ground unnoticed. In the unseen realm, tears are not symbols of defeat. They are spiritual ink. They write the story of endurance, of devotion, of relentless trust. The angels do not see them as sorrow. They see them as evidence. Evidence that you refused to quit when quitting seemed easier. Evidence that you loved God even when you didn't understand Him. The world tells you to hide your pain, to keep your face composed, to pretend you are unshaken. But heaven says otherwise. Heaven honors your brokenness, because in the breaking, light is released. When your heart shattered, heaven saw the oil of surrender flow from within you. Every moment you wept was counted, not as loss, but as offering. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Think of that. Your tears are not forgotten. They are kept. They are documented in the archives of heaven, preserved in divine remembrance. The same tears that blurred your vision are now seeds in God's hands. And, just like seeds, they will produce something beautiful. For every tear you sowed in pain, a harvest of joy is already being prepared. You thought you were crying alone, but you never were. Each night of anguish was attended by unseen company angels who stood by, instructed to record and comfort. While you lay broken, they whispered peace over your soul. While you thought silence meant absence, heaven was working behind the curtain. Nothing escapes divine sight, especially pain offered in trust. Your tears are testimonies. Each one carries a name, a reason, a story. Some were shed for people who hurt you. Others fell for promises delayed. Others still came from the ache of growth, when your old life no longer fit, but the new one hadn't yet appeared. These tears are sacred. They are part of your transformation. And understand this: tears are never a sign of failure in the kingdom. They are the language of surrender. Even Jesus wept, and when He did, heaven moved. You have not lost faith because you cried. You have demonstrated faith because you kept believing while you cried. Every drop that fell from your eyes became intercession. Each one said what words could not. When you ran out of prayers, your tears prayed for you. When you could not explain your pain, your tears carried it straight to God's heart. And He heard. He always hears. Sometimes the answers don't come right away, because God is not just healing circumstances, He is healing foundations. He is restoring parts of you that words can't reach. The delay isn't denial, it's design. The tears are the cleansing before the promise, the breaking before the rebuilding. There will come a day when you will look back at those nights and realize that every tear was prophetic. They were not wasted, they were building a testimony. You will say, "That pain taught me how to see differently. Those tears gave me discernment. What once felt like the end will prove to be the beginning." You may not realize it, but you are living proof that sorrow and strength can coexist. The light in your eyes now carries the reflection of every dark place you've walked through. People will look at you and feel peace, not knowing it was your tears that purchased that peace. So, if tonight the tears come again, don't hide them. Don't be ashamed of your humanity. You're not weak for feeling deeply. You're alive with divine sensitivity. Let the tears fall if they must. Let them wash away the residue of the last season. Let them water the soil of your next one. The same God who saw your tears yesterday is already shaping your tomorrow. He does not waste pain, and he does not overlook sacrifice. The tears you thought were your breaking are turning into the ink of your breakthrough. Heaven has recorded your tears. The angels have preserved them. And one day soon, those bottles of remembrance will pour back as rivers of joy. Every moment of anguish will translate into glory. Every secret cry will echo as praise. Your tears have spoken louder than words ever could, and heaven has answered. The time is near when laughter will replace the tears, when what was sown in sorrow will rise in celebration. The same hands that counted your tears will now crown you with joy unshakable, peace unbreakable, and glory undeniable. There comes a moment when the noise of mockery fades into silence, when those who laughed, doubted, or spoke against you suddenly find their voices gone. That moment is here. The mockers who once found joy in your struggle now stand confused, watching you rise from ashes they thought would bury you. The same ones who said, "It's over," are now whispering, "How you see." God has a way of answering mockery, not with arguments, but with evidence. He doesn't need to defend you with words. He defends you with results. You are becoming that result. Your stability, your glow, your peace, these are heaven's replies to every insult, every doubt, every lie. They laughed when you prayed. Now they see the light on your face and wonder who you've become. The season of humiliation was necessary. Without it, you wouldn't have recognized the difference between approval and anointing. Rejection became your redirection. Every closed door protected your calling. The pain taught you where not to return. And now, even your scars prophesy strength. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 11, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me." That verse has become the melody of your journey. You were blessed even when it didn't look like it. Blessed in betrayal. Blessed in waiting. Blessed in silence. Because blessing isn't always comfort, it's divine favor hidden inside pain. The mockers fell silent not because they changed, but because they can't compete with evidence. You didn't argue, you grew. You didn't prove, you transformed. Every time they tried to drag you down with words, you climbed higher with prayer. And when you chose forgiveness over revenge, heaven raised your platform higher. That's why they're quiet now. Your fruit has done the talking. Sometimes victory doesn't roar, it whispers. It shows up in your peace, your glow, your laughter that returns after years of mourning. Those who once threw stones now watch you build castles from the same rubble. The voice of mockery has become the echo of awe. And now, I want you to take a breath and feel this truth. You have nothing left to prove. You've already won the battles they don't even know you fought. Let the silence of your enemies remind you, you are walking proof that faith works. Now, from the heart, I want to speak to you not as a voice on a screen, but as a companion in this divine journey. If this message has touched something deep in you, if it has reminded you of your worth, your resilience, your divine design, then I invite you to help keep this flame burning. You see, these messages are like seeds. They are scattered into the world, reaching hearts that are tired, forgotten, and almost ready to give up. When you like, share, or subscribe, you are not just pressing buttons, you are watering those seeds. You are helping carry light into corners of the world that algorithms cannot reach on their own. And about giving, don't think of it as a transaction. Think of it as pouring oil into a lamp. The more oil there is, the longer the flame burns. Every donation, no matter the size, becomes oil that keeps this light alive, so that another weary soul can find their way home. There's no pressure, no condition. It's simply an open invitation to partner with purpose. If your heart ever feels led to give, do it from peace, not guilt. Let it be your whisper of gratitude to God, your way of saying, keep using this light to reach others. Maybe it's a small gift. Maybe it's a prayer. Maybe it's sharing this message with someone who needs it. Each act matters. Every drop of oil you pour keeps the flame from flickering out. Remember, no one can measure generosity by numbers. It's measured by intention. The same God who multiplied 5 loaves and 2 fish can multiply your smallest act of faith into 1,000 ripples of hope. So, as you watch, as you listen, if something in you stirs, share this message, like it, and subscribe to keep walking this divine path together. And if your spirit whispers to give, let that gift be your amen in motion. A quiet yet powerful agreement that this light must keep shining. You're not just supporting words, you're sustaining a mission. You're helping build a sanctuary made of sound. A small altar in the digital wilderness where broken hearts are reminded they are chosen, loved, and never forgotten. Your obedience already spoke. Now your compassion echoes it. Together, we make light louder than darkness, love stronger than fear. Because every time you share, give, or simply listen, you become part of the miracle. And, as the silence of your enemies deepens, the applause of heaven grows louder. You are walking proof that God can turn laughter meant to shame you into laughter filled with joy. The story isn't finished, it's unfolding beautifully. There are moments in life when everything seems still, so still, that you wonder if heaven is listening. But in that silence, something sacred happens. That was the moment when your yes to God became a covenant. Unseen, but undeniable. It wasn't just a prayer, it was a signature in the spirit realm. The day you said, I choose obedience over opinion, heaven sealed it. Covenants are not written in ink, but in intention. They are not signed by hands, but by hearts. You didn't just agree with words, you agreed with destiny. Every promise you've held on to, every storm you've survived, every trial that shaped you was preparing you for that one decision. When you whispered that yes, something eternal aligned. The world may not have noticed. There was no lightning, no trumpet sound, yet in the unseen, angels marked the moment. Light rippled through realms as heaven recorded your surrender. That's what covenant looks like. It doesn't demand attention, it carries power. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9, Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God. keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments. This is the reality of your story. You are walking in a promise that began long before your birth. Your covenant didn't start with you, it started with God's love. You didn't earn it, you accepted it. And because you did, everything around you began to shift. The things that once resisted you are now bending to divine timing. Some people wonder why doors open for you that remain locked for others. It's not favoritism, it's covenant. It's the divine signature that says, "This one belongs to me." The storms come, but they can't drown you. The fire burns, but it refines rather than destroys. Because covenant doesn't exempt you from battle, it ensures you'll win it. Your covenant with God changed your atmosphere. It didn't just protect you, it redefined you. When others see limitation, you see opportunity. When others collapse under pressure, you find strength you didn't know you had. That's the mark of divine partnership. Heaven backs every step you take. Even when the road feels lonely, there are promises still unfolding. But don't mistake delay for denial. Covenants take time to reveal their depth. A seed planted today doesn't bloom tomorrow, but it's alive, working beneath the soil. In the same way, your obedience is cultivating harvests you haven't even imagined yet. God is aligning people, moments, and miracles to fulfill what he swore over your life. Remember, this covenant is not a contract you keep, it's a relationship you honor. It's walking daily in faith, even when feelings fade. It's trusting that God's yes over your life is louder than any human no. You are under divine agreement now, and that means everything about you carries heavenly endorsement. So, when storms rise again, and they will remind yourself, I am not alone in this. The same God who kept his word with Abraham, with Moses, with David, has not forgotten his word to you. You are living proof that his covenant is still active, still breathing, still unbroken. Let this truth rest deeply inside you tonight. Your covenant wasn't made out of convenience, it was made out of love. That's why it cannot be cancelled by circumstance or broken by time. You belong to a promise that outlives seasons and transcends generations. And now, as you stand in this awareness, take a moment to seal it in your spirit. Type the prophetic number 444 inches. The comments, that number is not random, it represents divine stability. The firm foundation of heaven's agreement with you. It's your quiet declaration that you stand rooted in covenant peace. Let your comment be your reminder. You are not hoping for promises, you are walking in one. You are the living testimony of God's faithfulness, the embodiment of his unbreakable vow. The same voice that called you will keep you. The covenant still speaks, the covenant still holds, and the covenant is still alive in you. When you write 444, you are not typing numbers, you are acknowledging alignment. It means you recognize heaven's order in your life. Every door that opens, every season that shifts, every miracle that unfolds is now connected to covenant promise. It's your way of saying, I am standing on divine foundation. When you write 444, you're declaring stability where chaos once ruled. You're saying, my roots go deep, I will not be moved. It is heaven's code for balance, spirit, soul, and purpose moving as one. It's not superstition, it's synchronization with God's rhythm for your destiny. When you write 444, It becomes a prophetic seal, a reminder that what God began cannot be undone. It tells the unseen, my steps are ordered, my future secured, my covenant alive. The number becomes your whisper of faith, your quiet yes to every promise still unfolding. There comes a time when the hidden parts of who you are can no longer stay buried. Destiny starts knocking, and everything that was once concealed begins to rise to the surface. That's what happened when you made your choice. You triggered a revelation. The real you, the one heaven has known all along, began to awaken. For years, you wore masks not out of deceit, but survival. You became what others needed just to keep peace, to keep love, to keep belonging. But underneath every performance, your true identity waited silent, radiant, unstoppable. The moment you said yes to your calling, that hidden light broke free. The unveiling is not comfortable. It's not gentle. It feels like everything familiar is being stripped away. And in a way, it is. But this is not punishment, it's purification. The false layers are being peeled off so that the pure essence of your divine identity can shine without resistance. It was proclaimed in the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light. That verse is not just a title, it's your reflection. You were never ordinary. You carry a design that darkness cannot imitate. Every setback, every rejection, every betrayal was preparing you for visibility. The unveiling is not for vanity, it's for assignment. The world needs what you've hidden. For too long, you believed humility meant shrinking. But heaven never asked you to hide, He asked you to shine. There's a difference between pride and purpose. Pride exalts self. Purpose exalts God through self. You are not rising for attention, you are rising because creation is waiting for your light. When your true self emerges, expect resistance. Not everyone will celebrate your awakening. Some will misunderstand. Some will envy. Some will walk away. That's fine. The unveiling exposes not only your identity, but the authenticity of those around you. What remains after revelation is what was meant to remain. This stage of your journey is sacred. It's where God exchanges your survival identity for your kingdom identity. You're no longer defined by what you endured, but by what you're becoming. Every label that once limited you is dissolving. Every ceiling is cracking open. Do you know why the enemy tried so hard to keep you in confusion about who you are? Because once you know, you become unstoppable. Once you recognize your authority, fear loses its grip. You start speaking with clarity. You start walking in confidence. You stop begging for space and start creating it. Your unveiling carries responsibility. Light exposes and transforms. People who once only saw your struggle will now see your strength. They will hear wisdom in your voice and not know it was carved by pain. They will see peace in your posture and not realize it was born from battles. The unveiling also brings peace within. You no longer need to explain your difference. You start embracing it. You stop apologizing for your anointing. You stop dimming yourself to make others comfortable. You realize that being chosen was never about superiority. It was about service. There is a weight that comes with visibility. When God reveals you, He also refines you. The light that shines through you must first shine within you. That's why this process has been so deep. It's not just external, it's soul surgery. You are being prepared to carry influence without losing integrity. And this unveiling isn't about a single moment, it's a lifestyle. Every day you wake up more aligned, more aware, more grounded in purpose. The opinions of others fade. The validation you once craved loses its hold. You start living for audience of one approval, and that changes everything. The unveiling is also generational. What's coming out of you will free others who are still hiding. Your courage to be authentic will give permission to others to do the same. When they see you walk boldly in truth, they'll remember their own. You are not just stepping into identity, you are awakening a lineage. So breathe. Don't rush this season. Let the unveiling happen at heaven's pace. You don't need to force it, you just need to stay available. What's inside you is emerging not by effort but by grace. You are no longer who you used to be, and you never will be again. The unveiling has begun, and the light cannot return to the dark. You were made for this revelation. You were designed for this rise. The hidden version of you was powerful. The unveiled version of you is unstoppable. Your unveiling is not about becoming someone new, it's about remembering who you've always been beneath the fear. The world is finally seeing the reflection heaven saw the day you were formed. This is not a beginning, it's a return to divine identity. Walk forward now without apology. Every step reveals another layer of brilliance long hidden beneath pain. Let your authenticity be worship, your courage a declaration, your life the evidence that light was always destined to win. There are seasons when everything seems to turn upside down, when what once worked suddenly fails, when what once seemed stable begins to shake. You've been through such a season. The ground beneath your feet cracked open, and you thought it was destruction. But now you understand it wasn't collapse, it was divine rearrangement. The tables were turning by design. You see, the hand of God doesn't always lift gently, it flips what's out of order so truth can stand upright again. Everything that felt unfair, everything that seemed like loss, was actually repositioning. What was meant to harm you was quietly becoming the platform for your elevation. The tables have turned, and the shift was silent. No announcement, no warning, no trumpet blast, just a quiet reversal that only discernment could detect. One moment, you were overlooked. The next, you were essential. One moment, you were last. The next, you were leading. That's how God works, subtle in process, sudden in result. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Those words define the rhythm of your story. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every closed door was included in that all things. None of it was wasted. While you were breaking, God was building. While you were crying, he was crafting. While you thought it was the end, he was just setting the stage. When tables turn, it's rarely gentle. There's noise, friction, shifting. You feel the weight of change pressing against old foundations. But this is how transformation sounds. The shaking wasn't sent to scare you, it was sent to release you. What was not built on truth had to fall so that what is eternal could stand. You didn't realize it at the time. But while you were questioning everything, heaven was rewriting everything. The very situations that tried to bury you have become the soil where your purpose is blooming. People who once dismissed you are now forced to watch the fulfillment of the very word they mocked. The irony of destiny is that sometimes you must be broken publicly to be restored divinely. Your fall wasn't humiliation, it was set up. The delay wasn't denial, it was preparation. Every no was redirection toward a greater yes. You were not losing, you were being aligned. When God turns the tables, it's not about revenge, it's about revelation. He doesn't elevate you to prove others wrong. He elevates you to prove His word right. That's why your rise confuses those who underestimated you. It's not fueled by pride, but by purpose. Look closely, and you'll notice those who once had power over your peace no longer do. Their voices have faded into distance, their influence broken. The season where you had to defend your worth is over. God Himself has vindicated you through visible transformation. And now, the very places where you were rejected are being revisited, but this time as evidence of restoration. The doors that once closed are opening again, not because of who you became, but because of who God has always been. The favor that was delayed has finally found its time. When tables turn, the view changes. What used to tower over you is now beneath you. The pain that once defined you now serves as your testimony. And the people who once pitied you now look to you for guidance. This reversal was not random, it was written. There is divine humor in how God writes victory. He uses your ruins as blueprints for His glory. He turns ashes into ink and pain into poetry. What was once your battlefield has become your birthplace of destiny. Every reversal is redemption in disguise. Don't be surprised if the same voices that doubted you now try to draw near. Grace will always attract what once rejected it. But you no longer need validation. You've already been vindicated. Let them come if they must. But you stand differently now. You stand as one who knows that God alone holds the pen. The tables have turned, not because of luck or timing, but because of covenant. You stayed faithful when no one clapped, generous when you had little, steadfast when storms raged. Heaven saw it all. And now justice is unfolding, not human justice, but divine balance. So, rest. You don't need to announce the shift. The fruit will speak. The same soil that buried your pain is growing your promise. The same stage that witnessed your fall will host your restoration. This is what divine reversal looks like: quiet, steady, unstoppable. The tables have turned. The story has flipped. And the ending, once written in sorrow, is now rewritten in glory. The reversal is complete. What once broke you now builds you. Every tear has turned to testimony, every fall to foundation. Walk with peace. The storm has served its purpose. The tables have turned, and the light now sits where darkness once ruled. When you made your decision to stand, something happened that human eyes could not see. Your voice, spoken in faith, maybe even trembling, didn't just fill the air. It echoed through realms unseen. Heaven heard it, but so did hell. That one word of surrender sent shockwaves through the invisible world. The sound of your choice became a trumpet call in the spirit. You didn't know it then, but every yes you whispered carried the frequency of heaven. It was not volume that made it powerful, it was alignment. The tone of obedience cuts through darkness like lightning. That is why, even now, your voice carries weight beyond the natural. The enemy heard you too, and that's why the attacks intensified afterward. You weren't under assault because you were weak. You were targeted because your voice became a threat. Every prayer, every song, every cry that came from your spirit struck fear into what once held you captive. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 10, "The mountains saw you and trembled. The overflowing of the water passed by. The deep uttered its voice and lifted its hands on high." That is what happens when a chosen one speaks in faith. Creation itself responds. The very air seems to tremble. When you speak truth, heaven recognizes its own reflection in your sound. That's why some seasons feel heavy. The spiritual atmosphere around you reacts to the authority inside you. You are not just a voice. You are an echo of divine will. Every time you declare light in the midst of darkness, that echo grows stronger. Angels move when you speak under anointing. Chains loosen. Confusion flees. Silence itself begins to bow. You have become a sound the enemy cannot silence. It's not about shouting louder, it's about speaking clearer. Heaven is not moved by noise, it's moved by faith. Even when your words are few, they carry eternal resonance because they're born of surrender, not striving. You are learning the language of heaven, the language where words become weapons and truth becomes thunder. There were days when you thought your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling, but heaven says otherwise. Not one word has been lost. Each syllable has been stored, each cry recorded. The answers you thought delayed were actually being woven into timing. Heaven doesn't forget sound, it fulfills it. Your voice has authority not because of who you are, but because of who speaks through you. That's why you can say things that shift rooms, bring calm to storms, or stir conviction in hearts. It's not charisma, it's calling. The Spirit within you gives power to your words, making them instruments of creation. Be mindful now of what you release. Every word has power to build or break, to heal or to harm. You've been entrusted with sound, use it wisely. Bless where you once cursed. Speak life where you once stayed silent. Your declarations are seeds, and they will grow into the world you inhabit. And know this, your voice carries identity. Every time you speak truth, you reaffirm who you are. The enemy tries to silence you because your sound reminds him of what he lost authority. You carry what he forfeited, divine resonance, creative breath, the echo of heaven's heartbeat. Your worship is warfare. Your declarations are destiny written aloud. Even your whisper becomes a command in the Spirit when spoken in faith. The voice that once shook with fear now shakes the foundations of darkness. You are no longer the echo of pain, you are the sound of power. So, as this truth settles deep within you, respond not just with thought, but with declaration. Type these words below as your seal, your echo, your affirmation of what God is stirring in your spirit. Comment below, "My voice matters." Say it with intention. When you type it, you are not merely agreeing with a message, you are aligning with heaven's decree. You are telling the unseen, "I will no longer be silent." You are reminding yourself that your voice was never ordinary, it was chosen to carry divine vibration. Speak it, write it, live it, because your sound shifts worlds. When you write, "My voice matters," you awaken the truth that has always lived inside you, that your words are not background noise but building blocks of destiny. You were not created to echo doubt, you were created to speak transformation. Every sentence you release shapes atmospheres, and opens unseen doors. When you write, "My voice matters," you remind heaven that you are still available, still willing to declare light even in dark seasons. It becomes your spiritual signature, a reminder that silence no longer owns you. You are taking your rightful place as one whose voice carries divine resonance. When you write, "My voice matters," it becomes more than affirmation, it becomes prophecy. You're saying, "My sound will heal, my words will build, my truth will stand." The universe bends toward the courage of those who dare to speak. Fire and favor have a strange relationship. One tests, the other transforms. You have walked through both. You felt the heat of the furnace and the fragrance of grace. The two were never separate. They were partners in your preparation. The same fire that tried to consume you became the forge that marked you. Every trial, every tear, every unanswered prayer, none of it was wasted. It was all divine metallurgy, heaven's way of refining gold from dust. You are not merely surviving, you are emerging. The flames didn't scar you, they branded you with purpose. That's why the air feels different around you now. You carry the scent of endurance, the aroma of one who has been purified, not destroyed. The Word of God declares in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9, "I will bring the third part through the fire. I will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They will call on my name, and I will hear them." That is your story written long before you could see it. The fire was never random, it was a classroom. And you, chosen one, have graduated from it. The mark you carry is not of defeat, but of distinction. The glow on your spirit is not from comfort, it's from survival that turned into sanctification. When you walk into a room, people may not know your history, but they feel your weight, not the weight of burden, but of blessing. The fire has given you authority. You now speak with clarity because you've learned that pain can preach. Every scar is a scripture written in flesh. Every ache a verse of perseverance. The favor that rests on you now was shaped by that same fire. It's like rain after drought, gentle, restoring, undeniable. You no longer chase opportunities, opportunities recognize you. You no longer beg for belonging, belonging finds you. That is what happens when God places His seal on your spirit. And as this moment of reflection washes over you, I want to speak from heart to heart. Messages like these are not just words, they are lanterns in the dark. Each one crafted to find someone who forgot their worth. Someone who needs to remember that their fire still has meaning. When you like, share, or subscribe, you are not just reacting, you are relighting lamps across the world. Every click becomes a spark that travels farther than you can imagine, carrying hope to someone standing in the very fire you just walked through. And if your heart feels stirred to go deeper, to help keep this light burning for others, then think of it like adding wood to a sacred fire. Every gift, every act of support, every seed sown is a log placed carefully on the flame. It doesn't force the fire, it feeds it. Giving is not obligation, it's oxygen. When you choose to support, even in small ways, you're breathing life into something eternal. You're saying, let this warmth reach one more soul. And maybe you never meet that person, but heaven will make sure your kindness finds them. Think of it like this: when a traveler in the desert finds a well, they drink deeply, and then, if their heart is pure, They refill the jug for the next traveler. That is what generosity does here. It ensures that the next weary soul who wanders into this space finds water, not dust. You've felt the flame. You've been through the refining. Now you are the keeper of light. When you share, you scatter embers. When you like, you fan flames. When you subscribe, you become part of a living, the breathing circle of fire where no one walks alone. And if giving ever stirs within you, let it come naturally, like the way dawn returns each morning. Unforced, inevitable, beautiful. Do it not out of duty, but out of recognition that you are part of something divine. Because what you're helping build isn't just a channel, it's a refuge. A place where pain finds meaning and silence finds voice. You're helping turn ashes into testimony, and there's nothing more sacred than that. So as this message reaches its end, remember this: the fire didn't end you, it revealed you. The favor now resting on your life is heaven's acknowledgement that you endured what was meant to destroy you. You have been tried, tested, and trusted. And now, you are marked not with scars of sorrow, but with symbols of grace. The flame still burns, the favor still flows, and through you, the light will keep reaching further than you'll ever know. You are the living ember that proves the fire can purify without consuming. Everywhere you go now, sparks of healing follow. What once broke you has become the warmth others gather around for strength and hope. Let your life keep glowing quietly. The same God who refined you will keep you radiant. Your flame will never fade. It was lit by eternity itself. There are moments in the unseen realm when time seems to hold its breath, when heaven and hell both stand as witnesses to the decisions of the chosen. You've lived through one of those moments. Every act of faith you made, every prayer you whispered in the dark, was not private, it was observed. The gathering of witnesses has always been real, even when you could not feel their gaze. The world around you often forgets that existence is layered. Beneath the physical, there is a realm more alive than anything visible. Angels watch, not to judge, but to record. Demons observe, not to admire, but to anticipate failure. Yet, each time you stood in faith, you frustrated their plans. You became a living contradiction to what they expected. You may not have seen it, but every time you refused bitterness, heaven rejoiced. When you forgave instead of retaliating, angels celebrated. When you prayed for your enemies instead of cursing them, light filled the air like incense. The gathering of witnesses was not silent, it erupted in awe. It is written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." That cloud of witnesses is real. It's not just ancient heroes of faith, it includes those who have gone before you. Those who once struggled but endured. Those who now cheer you from eternity's edge. When you think you are unseen, remember they are watching, believing, waiting for you to finish your part of the story. Heaven's audience doesn't look for perfection, they look for endurance. They don't cheer for those who never fall, they cheer for those who rise again. And you, chosen one, have risen more times than you realize. Every comeback has been a declaration that grace still reigns. There is a mystery in how heaven measures victory. It's not by applause or recognition, but by resilience. When you get up one more time, then you fall. You've already won. The witnesses aren't counting your stumbles, they're counting your steps forward. Each one is evidence of faith still alive. The enemy watches too, but for a different reason. He studies patterns, looking for weakness. He hoped your pain would silence your praise, that your fear would quiet your faith. But you became unpredictable. You praised when you should have panicked. You worshipped when you should have worried. And that defiance of despair confused hell itself. Your story is being written in both realms. Every unseen battle adds another chapter. Every victory, another verse. Heaven doesn't just record what you do, it records what you endure. Your endurance has become an anthem sung in spiritual places. You are not walking alone. The same angels that guarded prophets, guided kings, and comforted the weary now accompany you. You carry the same spirit that raised the dead, the same fire that fell on altars, the same glory that filled the temple. Every step you take is part of a divine relay race, and the baton you carry burns with ancient flame. There are times when the silence feels unbearable, when heaven seems too far away, but silence is never absence. The witnesses don't always speak, they observe in reverence as you walk out what they once walked through. You are living continuation of faith's story. Think of it, generations before you prayed prayers, you're now living the answers to. Their faith planted the soil beneath your feet. Now your obedience will prepare ground for those coming after you. The torch in your hand carries centuries of devotion. You are not the beginning, you are the bridge. Every act of faith you take strengthens that bridge. When you speak kindness in chaos, when you remain steadfast under pressure, when you choose love over bitterness, you fortify the connection between realms. Heaven applauds not noise, but endurance. One day, your story will join the chorus of witnesses. Your faith will be the example that strengthens another heart. Someone will find courage because you refuse to give up. The same way you've drawn strength from others' testimonies, they will draw from yours. You don't see it now, but the audience of heaven is vast, and your life is part of their celebration. Every step you take in alignment, every prayer whispered through tears, is broadcast through eternity as proof that faith still works, love still wins, and light still overcomes darkness. So, walk with confidence. You are not isolated, you are surrounded. You are not forgotten, you are recorded. You are not fighting for victory, you are walking in witness. The eyes of heaven are upon you, not to pressure you, but to remind you that you are never alone. Every time you rise, the heavens rejoice. Every time you endure, the cloud of witnesses leans forward. Every time you choose faith, you keep their story alive. You are the living continuation of a lineage that cannot die. There are moments when light and darkness meet face to face, not in imagination, but in reality, deep inside the human heart. You've stood in that sacred space. You've felt the pull of both worlds, the weight of shadow trying to reclaim what light had already redeemed. And in that moment, something divine happened. Light answered. You didn't have to shout. You didn't have to fight the way the world fights. The light within you simply stood its ground, and darkness, once bold and confident, began to retreat. That's the power of divine illumination. It doesn't argue, it reveals. It exposes what's false. It heals what's hidden, and it restores what was forgotten. The moment you chose truth, Heaven ignited something in your spirit that cannot be extinguished. It's not just hope, it's authority. You've carried that light quietly, through seasons of confusion and silence. And now it shines stronger than ever. As Jesus declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." That verse is not just scripture, it's your story. The darkness tried to surround you with fear, doubt, and loss. But the flame inside you refused to die. Every time you prayed when you didn't feel like it, every time you forgave instead of fought back, you strengthened that light. The enemy never feared your talent or your title, he feared your illumination. Because once you see clearly, deception loses power. Once you know who you are, darkness loses its grip. You've learned to discern what's sent to distract and what's sent to develop. And now, your light is not fragile, it's focused. When light answers darkness, there's always resistance. The shadows don't fade quietly, they scream. Old temptations return. Familiar doubts resurface. But this time, you're different. You've seen too much, survived too much, grown too much to go back to blindness. You walk now with sight that sees beyond circumstance. Your light has changed the atmosphere around you. You've noticed it, some people are drawn to you, others drift away. It's not rejection, it's revelation. Light reveals hearts. Those who love truth will find comfort in your presence. Those who resist it will feel exposed. Either way, you are fulfilling your purpose simply by shining. The power of your light is not in its volume, but its constancy. Candles don't compete with the sun, they simply refuse to go out. That's what makes them valuable in the dark. You've become that steady flame, quiet, consistent, unshakable, even in your silence. Heaven uses your light to speak. Every act of compassion, every moment of integrity, every time you choose peace instead of panic, you are testifying without words. You are proof that God's presence doesn't just dwell in temples, it dwells in hearts. This is the war of our age, truth against illusion, love against apathy, faith against fear. And every time you choose love, you win a battle the world doesn't even see. Your light has already changed your environment, and soon it will influence generations. You are not called to chase darkness away, you are called to outlast it. The shadows only last until the next sunrise. And you, chosen one, are that sunrise. You are the dawn after a long night. And so, as this moment settles into your spirit, let this act be your seal of faith and recognition. Drop the prophetic number 333 inches, the comments below. This number represents divine truth, balance, and completion within the Trinity. It symbolizes light answering darkness and heaven's agreement with your awakening. When you write it, you're not performing a ritual, you're declaring alignment. You're saying, I walk in light. I will not return to blindness. My sight is sanctified. My vision restored. Your comment becomes your beacon, a small act in the natural that echoes loudly in the spiritual. It's heaven's reminder that light always wins, that darkness has no final word, and that your very existence is proof of victory. Keep shining, because the world still needs the warmth of your flame. When you write 333, you are not typing digits, you are bearing witness to light's triumph. It means you acknowledge that the divine has intertwined with your journey. The Father designed you. The Son redeemed you. And the Spirit now empowers you to keep shining even when darkness whispers doubt. When you write 333, you are declaring balance, restored mind, heart, and soul walking in one rhythm. It's your way of saying, I will not stumble back into confusion. I will stand in clarity. Each 3 represents a strand of divine stability woven through your being. A promise that your steps are guided. When you write 333, heaven hears harmony. It's the sound of agreement between what God spoke and what you now believe. That simple act becomes your silent roar, your radiant yes to destiny. Light is not just around you, it is within you, permanent and undefeated. The crown is never forged in comfort. It is shaped in fire, in nights of silence, in valleys where faith is tested to its edge. Your crown, the one heaven has been preparing, was not crafted in a palace but in a furnace. Every hardship, every loss, every battle was part of its formation. What you thought was punishment was actually polishing. Crowns are not given, they are earned through endurance. Heaven does not hand them to the careless or the comfortable, but to those who stayed when others walked away, who prayed when words ran dry, who kept believing when evidence said otherwise. You have been refined, not for vanity, but for victory. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to James, chapter 1, verse 12, Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. That verse is not just encouragement, it's your testimony. You didn't just survive trials, you grew through them. Each storm left wisdom where fear used to live. Each disappointment built discernment. The heat that once felt unbearable was actually removing impurities, doubt, pride, fear, self-reliance. And what remained after the fire was faith, pure and unshakable. When God forges a crown, he first allows the metal to melt. That's why you felt undone. Everything you thought made you strong had to break so divine strength could take its place. Your tears became the cooling water that set the gold. The weight you feel now is not burden, it's glory settling on you. The furnace season wasn't to destroy, it was to define. You were not being punished, you were being prepared. Every pressure was a sculptor's hand shaping your character, teaching you how to carry influence without losing innocence, authority without arrogance. You've learned what few understand: power means nothing without purity. Your crown isn't ornamental, it's symbolic. It represents mastery over what once mastered you. You no longer react to chaos the way you once did. You've learned to pause, to pray, to perceive. That's the sign of kingship in the spirit, not dominance, but discernment. The fire was also a filter. Some people couldn't survive the heat with you. They weren't meant to. Fire reveals who is real. It burns away pretense and exposes foundation. You discovered who truly loved you. And perhaps more importantly, who you truly were without the masks. The revelation hurt, but it healed. Now that the forging is complete, your posture has changed. You carry quiet confidence, not loud pride. You don't need to announce who you are, the atmosphere already knows. The same flame that once burned you now burns through you. When you speak, your words carry weight. When you move with grace, learned through grief. And even though the crown is invisible, heaven sees it gleam. Every time you choose forgiveness over offense, compassion over revenge, faith over fear, the crown shines brighter. It's a reminder that glory is not earned by striving, but by surrender. You might not feel royal, but your endurance has written your coronation. Heaven has already declared you victorious. The trials that tried to break you have become your throne. The ashes under your feet are proof that the fire is behind you, not ahead. There's something sacred about wearing an unseen crown. It humbles you. You realize authority isn't about being above others, it's about lifting others higher. Your strength now serves. Your wisdom guides. Your scars teach. You've become a living reflection of redemption itself. And know this, the crown is not the end. It's the beginning of a new kind of responsibility. The world will look to you and see resilience. And that resilience will give them hope. Your life becomes an unspoken sermon, one that says, "If I can rise, so can you." Every furnace has a purpose, and yours was divine. You were never being destroyed, you were being defined. You carry the fragrance of fire conquered, not feared. And the glow that surrounds you now is heaven's acknowledgement that you've passed the test. So walk with your head lifted. You're not boasting, you're bearing the proof of endurance. The crown is not heavy, it fits perfectly now, molded to the shape of your perseverance. You are not who you were before the fire. You are stronger, wiser, softer, and infinitely more radiant. The crown forged in the furnace will never fade. It cannot be stolen, tarnished, or broken. It was shaped by pain, but sealed by purpose. And now, you wear it not for recognition, but as testimony that even flames bow to faith. Your journey through fire was never meant to end in ashes, it was meant to reveal gold. You are proof that what endures the flame emerges unbreakable, beautifully refined. Now walk forward, crowned in quiet victory. Let your radiance speak louder than your past. The furnace no longer defines you, the light within you does. Before every shift in your life, there has always been silence. A quiet so heavy it feels like heaven itself has stopped speaking. You've known that silence, the kind that tests your patience, stretches your faith, and makes you question if God is still near. Yet in that stillness, something sacred was forming. The silence before the shift is never empty. It's a womb, not a void. It's where promises mature, where prayers germinate, where destiny gathers strength before birth. You were not being ignored, you were being incubated. Heaven hides its greatest works behind the curtain of quiet. There's a reason you couldn't hear anything during that time. It wasn't because heaven had gone quiet, it was because heaven was moving. When God is working deeply, He often removes the noise, so you can't mistake the process for abandonment. The ancient words recorded in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15, remind us, "In quietness and trust is your strength." Those words hold the secret to the silence. You were being trained to trust what you couldn't trace. The pause wasn't punishment, it was preparation. God was recalibrating your steps, clearing paths that you couldn't see. The delay was the disguise of divine order. In silence, every false thing falls away. You start hearing your own heart clearly, the unfiltered desires, the hidden wounds, the quiet hopes you buried under busyness. And in that awareness, transformation begins. Silence becomes the sound of reshaping. There were nights when you cried out and heard nothing back. Those nights were sacred. They were the furnace where your faith was stripped of performance. You learned to love God without the music, without the miracle, without the sign. That's maturity, to trust the author even when the page is blank. The stillness before your shift wasn't passive, it was purposeful. Like the earth holding its breath before the first light of dawn, heaven waited until everything was in perfect alignment. And then, just when it seemed nothing was happening, the ground began to move. You may not have recognized it at first. Small changes, unexpected meetings, a sudden clarity. These were the tremors before transformation. The silence had been gathering momentum, and now, movement has begun. Every silence in your life has carried a hidden promise. Think back to your past before every elevation. There was a pause. Before every breakthrough, there was waiting. The quiet moments were not the absence of progress. They were the soundless hum of destiny preparing to reveal itself. You were learning how to walk without sight, how to listen without noise, how to trust without explanation. That's how generals of faith are made, not in applause, but in anonymity. Even nature testifies to this rhythm. Seeds grow in silence. Stars burn in silence. The ocean shifts tides without a single sound. Creation understands what the soul often forgets, that stillness is sacred movement. What you call delay, heaven calls design. The waiting refined your focus. It taught you to distinguish between opportunity and distraction. You no longer rush to fill empty space, you guard it. Knowing silence is where strength gathers. Now that you are on the verge of another shift, recognize the pattern. The stillness has returned because something greater is forming again. Don't fear the quiet this time. Honor it. Let it shape you, center you, deepen you. You're not stuck, you're stationed. You're not forgotten, you're being fortified. What looks like inactivity is divine intensity. Heaven is aligning what you prayed for with who you've become. When the silence finally breaks, it won't be gradual. The shift will be sudden. Like dawn after the longest night. You'll look around and realize that while you were still, God was strategic. The doors will open not because you forced them, but because you grew into the person who fits through them. So, let the silence remain a teacher. Don't rush to escape it. Sit with it. Let it remind you that the quiet before change is not the end, it's the beginning disguised. Soon, what has been still will move. What has been unseen will appear. What has been delayed will arrive. The silence before the shift is the sound of heaven holding its breath, waiting for your next step. Be still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. The silence is holy, and the shift is near. In this stillness, trust the rhythm of divine timing. Every heartbeat of silence carries instruction. The quiet you fear is simply heaven's pause before releasing the next movement of grace. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. The soil must rest before it bears new fruit. Your waiting is working, nurturing strength unseen but deeply rooted in faith. When the silence breaks, it will not whisper, it will roar with fulfillment. You'll understand that the pause was protection, and every moment of quiet was a sacred prelude to glory. Long before you could see it, your rise was written. Every moment of struggle, every season of waiting, every whispered prayer, all of it was part of a divine script composed by unseen hands. Nothing about your journey has been accidental. Even the detours were directions disguised. You didn't wander, you were being woven into prophecy. You are living inside words spoken long before your first breath. Heaven wrote chapters of your story that you're only now beginning to read. What you call coincidence, heaven calls confirmation. What felt like delay was simply the author turning the page at the right time. The Apostle Paul wrote in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10, "For we are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." You are that masterpiece. Every scar, every victory, every step has been brushstroke and color. The pain added depth, the joy added light. Nothing wasted, nothing random, each thread of your life intricately woven into design. And now, as prophecy meets fulfillment, your rise feels unfamiliar. That's because destiny never feels like pride, it feels like purpose. You're not rising to be seen, you're rising to serve. What's happening to you is not a promotion of ego, it's the unveiling of assignment. The world sees a person elevated, heaven sees a promise fulfilled. You are walking evidence that God still writes miracles in human form. The whispers of doubt that once haunted you are now being silenced by the volume of manifestation. You may notice that new eyes are watching, new hearts are drawn. Some will recognize the anointing, others will resist it. But your response is not to explain, only to exemplify. Your life will preach louder than your words ever could. The prophecy of your rise doesn't demand validation, it produces transformation. And as this light continues to grow through you, I want to pause and speak heart to heart. These words you're hearing right now are not just content, they're pieces of light scattered into a vast world of noise. When you like, share, or subscribe, you're not boosting an algorithm, you're helping carry lanterns into places where hope has dimmed. Think of it like this: each share is a candle passed from one soul to another, each like a whisper of "I see you," and each subscription a quiet decision to walk together under the same flame. You're not promoting, you're participating in a flow of healing that moves unseen. And if ever your heart feels stirred to go deeper, to pour something back into this stream that has poured into you, then imagine it as adding another stone to a well. Every gift, every act of generosity, every seed sown becomes water for those who will come thirsty tomorrow. No one demands it. No one measures it. It's simply love made visible. Giving, in truth, is not an obligation, it's an echo. It's the soul's way of saying, "I was touched by this light, now let it touch someone else." Whether that echo comes as a gift, a kind word, a prayer, or a shared moment, it all becomes part of the same melody of grace. Maybe that's what community really means, not standing in one place, but standing for one another, each of us holding a fragment of the divine flame, keeping it alive for someone else. So when this message ends, let your heart decide. If it inspired you, let the inspiration move. If it healed you, let the healing flow. Like if it resonated. Share if it reminded you of someone who needs it. Subscribe if you want to walk this path with others. And if generosity stirs quietly inside you, pour your water into the well. Somewhere, another traveler will drink from it. And before you go, leave a comment, a word, an emoji. a single sentence of light. Think of it as carving your initials on the wall of a sanctuary. Each comment becomes a candle's flicker, a small reminder that none of us walk this road alone. You see, heaven doesn't measure your giving, it multiplies your intention. The smallest act done with love becomes infinite in reach. Your rise was not an accident, it was a prophecy maturing in real time. The same light that lifted you will soon touch those connected to you. Every step forward becomes a ripple of grace moving through generations. Let your gratitude speak through your actions, your compassion through your words. The world does not need louder voices, it needs truer ones. Voices like yours that carry quiet fire and gentle conviction. Walk on, chosen soul. Knowing your rise is not the end, but the beginning of another divine chapter. What was written in heaven is unfolding beautifully on earth through you. Your rise has become a living scripture, written not in ink but in endurance. Heaven now echoes your story as proof that faith fulfilled its promise through your unwavering heart. There will come a day when those who doubted you will have no choice but to see what heaven has done, not out of vengeance, but revelation. The same eyes that watched your struggle will witness your rising. The same voices that whispered your downfall will fall silent in awe. It will not be your words that convince them, it will be your transformation. This is the beauty of divine justice. God never embarrasses your enemies, He educates them. He turns the stage of your pain into the classroom of their awakening. They will see the evidence of what faith can build from rubble. They will learn that the one they underestimated was never weak, only hidden for a season. You never had to prove yourself, you only had to persevere. Every false accusation, every mocking word, every betrayal, they all became bricks in the altar of your testimony. What was meant to break you became the material heaven used to elevate you. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. That table has been prepared, and it is not about pride, it is about purpose. The feast is not to humiliate those who hurt you, but to reveal how mercy triumphs over malice. They will see that the oil on your head wasn't stolen, it was earned through surrender, through forgiveness, through unwavering trust. You are walking proof that grace is stronger than gossip. You didn't have to fight for attention, you became attention by being consistent. What they used to mock you for is now the very thing they respect you for. You stayed soft in a hard world, and that softness has become your strength. When your enemies watch your rise, they won't understand it. They will search for logical explanations, for human reasons behind divine elevation. But favor cannot be explained, it can only be witnessed. That's why this moment is sacred. It's not revenge, it's revelation. The same mouths that cursed you will bless you without realizing it. You are standing in the aftermath of obedience. You didn't fight back with anger, you fought back with silence, with patience, with prayer. You let time do what argument never could. You let God speak through fruit. And now, the harvest stands taller than every rumor ever spoken against you. There's a stillness that comes with vindication. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's peaceful. Because when God defends you, He doesn't need to announce it. He simply shifts things. Suddenly, the very places that rejected you are asking for your presence. The very hearts that dismissed you now seek your wisdom. The irony is divine. The same ones who threw stones now walk on the path those stones paved. They won't even realize that your humility built the bridge they're using to cross into their own healing. That's the mystery of grace. It redeems even those who wronged you. Do not gloat. Do not turn this season of proof into a parade of pride. Let the evidence speak. Let your peace be your answer. The silence of your enemies is not your trophy, it's your testimony. It means God has settled the matter better than you ever could. Your task now is to stay radiant. Let the oil on your life keep flowing. The table before you is not only for eating, it's for feeding others. The abundance you're walking into is meant to overflow. Those who once opposed you might one day sit beside you. No longer enemies, but witnesses of redemption. This moment is bigger than vindication, it's about completion. Every pain you endured has served its purpose. The story has come full circle. The lesson has been learned. And now grace has the final word. You don't need applause to know it's real. You can feel it. The peace resting on your spirit is the proof of divine approval. You've passed the tests, endured the trials, and loved beyond reason. Now, heaven rewards you with restoration beyond measure. The enemies who watched you fall are now watching you flourish, not because you sought revenge, but because you sought righteousness. And the greatest miracle is not that they see you differently, it's that you see them differently too. Compassion has replaced bitterness. Understanding has replaced pain. That is true victory, not dominance, but deliverance. The ability to bless those who broke you, to forgive those who failed you, and to love those who left you. This is divine promotion, the kind no human can manufacture or undo. Your rise is the revelation that faith still works, that endurance still pays, and that God still writes perfect endings. You are the living testimony that no weapon, no word, no wound can stop what heaven has ordained. The story has turned, and grace has the final scene. What once wounded now worships. What once hindered now honors. You are proof that divine justice always arrives perfectly timed. You stand now at the summit of your becoming. Every tear, every trial, every trembling prayer has brought you to this moment, the place where prophecy turns to presence, and survival becomes sovereignty. You are not who you were when this began. The journey has rewritten you, refined you, and revealed the power of what it means to be truly chosen. The winds that once opposed you now carry your fragrance. The storms that once shook you now sing your strength. Everything that once seemed against you has become the choir announcing your victory. This is what it means to stand victorious, not as one who escaped pain, but as one who transformed through it. Victory for the chosen is not loud. It is steady. It is peace after battle, clarity after chaos, stillness after the storm. You have learned that triumph doesn't always shout. Sometimes it breathes quietly through contentment. It is written in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That verse was not written for those who never bled. It was written for those who bled and still believed. For those who walked through fire and still found reason to worship. For those like you, who faced everything meant to destroy them and came out purified, crowned, and unbreakable. You are the living proof that faith endures beyond fear. Every scar on your soul has turned into light, and every loss has become a landmark of grace. The victory you walk in now is not borrowed, it is yours, sealed in heaven, witnessed by eternity itself. When you look back, you'll see that even your pain was prophetic. What tried to bury you actually planted you. What tried to silence you trained you to sing. What tried to break you built you. Nothing in your story was wasted, not 1 second, not one breath, not one battle. And now, as you stand in the fullness of who you are, heaven whispers again, not instruction this time, but affirmation. It is finished. You made it. Those words echo not just as an ending, but as a beginning. The victory of the chosen is not about reaching an end, it's about stepping into a new rhythm of divine purpose. The strength you found is gentle. The authority you carry, quiet. You no longer strive for recognition, you simply radiate truth. You don't chase destiny anymore, destiny follows your obedience. You have become harmony, human and divine, flesh and spirit, perfectly aligned in the melody of calling. The world around you will sense it even if they can't name it. They'll feel peace in your presence, healing in your words, hope in your silence. You won't have to convince anyone of who you are. The light now speaks for you. And that's what victory truly is, the silence of striving, the song of serenity. You have nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to fear. The war within you is over. You've made peace with your past, aligned with your present, and opened the gates of your future. The victory doesn't erase the memory of pain, it redeems it. It turns the bitter into wisdom, the broken into beauty. What once made you weep now makes you worship. You have learned that victory is not winning against something, it's living beyond it. You carry that victory not as a trophy, but as a torch. Every step you take now illuminates the path for others. Your story will not end in quiet obscurity. It will echo in hearts that hear it and remember their own strength. You are not just chosen, you are contagious with courage. The enemies that once gathered to watch your fall will now witness your rise. But this time, you'll have no anger left, only mercy. Because true victory doesn't seek revenge, it offers redemption. It teaches those who doubted you what grace can do when it takes human form. And so, as the final chapter unfolds, there is peace. The circle closes, not with noise, but with stillness. The fight is done. The race is finished. The faith is kept. And all that remains is gratitude. Gratitude for the fire that forged you. Gratitude for the silence that steadied you. Gratitude for the tears that taught you how to see. You are the culmination of divine endurance, the living evidence that being chosen was never about perfection, it was about perseverance. You have finished your course, not by chance, but by choice. And now, heaven stands not in surprise, but in celebration. The scroll of your story is sealed with glory, written in endurance, and sung by angels who whisper your name in reverence. The enemies watched. They were shocked. But heaven already knew, because this ending was written long before the world began. Your story closes in light, not silence. The heavens rejoice. The earth exhales, and your spirit stands tall, crowned, complete, and forever chosen by the hand that never fails. And now the story settles. Like light after thunder, you have reached the end of this path. But it isn't really an end, it's a beginning wrapped in stillness. The words you've walked through were never just sentences, they were seeds. Each one has been planted in the soil of your spirit, waiting to bloom in its season. If, along the way, something here has stirred you, healed you, or helped you remember who you are, then let that feeling move. Like this message if it reached you, not for the numbers, but because that simple act keeps the light traveling. Share it if you know someone standing where you once stood, someone waiting for their own reminder that destiny still breathes. Leave a comment below, even just a word or a small flame emoji. Think of it as carving your initials on the edge of eternity, a way of saying, I was here, and I heard. Every comment becomes a spark that might light another soul in the dark. And if gratitude rises quietly inside you, if you feel called to sustain what this space has given you, then let generosity flow like water returning to a well. Every drop keeps this flame alive, reaching those who haven't yet found their way home. It's not obligation, it's overflow, the natural response of a heart touched by light. Finally, subscribe if you wish to keep walking together. If you want these moments of stillness and strength to find you again, this is not just a channel, it's a sanctuary woven through sound and story. You are part of it now. Carry what you've received. Let it echo in your words, your kindness, your silence. The chosen ones never really finish, they continue, as light does, always moving forward, always finding new hearts to awaken.